Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all children? I am back with a new topic from your history section, that is the first empire, the Mauryas. This is a very important empire of the ancient India. Okay, a very powerful, a very strong empire. So we will look into it today. Mauryas was founded, or the founder of this empire was Chandragupta Maurya. The first ruler of Mauryas was Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya, when he came to throne, came into power, he did not have too many states or too many parts of India under his control. A limited portion of India was under his control, but he was a very powerful and a very strong king. So he started attacking the kingdoms which are around him, and he won many kingdoms. Okay. Now in 321 BC, he attacked Nandas and he got control over them. Those days, the northern western part of India was controlled by Greece, okay, Greek people. In 326 BC, there was a king called Alexander who came to India from Macedonia, that is part of Greek. He came from there and he attacked India, got control over northern western part. After that, he went back, leaving his governor to look after that part in India. Okay. Now, the northern western part was not under Indian control those days. It was under Greece. Okay. Now, this part also, the northern western part also, Chandragupta Maurya wanted to get control over. So, what he did was, he attacked that part and he defeated the governor who was looking after that part, and he got control over it. So, now Chandragupta Maurya had control from Hindu Kush in northwest to Bengal. The northern area was under his control. Then from northern part Himalayas to south Narmada. Till there he got control over India. Children, when I am talking about India, it is not the present India that I am talking about. At this time, the India was more bigger than what it is today. The many other countries were part of India, like Pakistan, Bangladesh were also part of India those days. So India was a huge country. It was a very big country. It was a subcontinent. Okay. So when I am talking about India at this time, it is not as small as it is today. It is a very huge country that I am talking about. So now Chandragupta Maurya had got control over most of the parts of India. He had already succeeded in getting control over it. Okay. And at his time, at the time of Chandragupta Maurya, there was a Brahmin scholar called Chanakya. Chanakya was a very wise advisor. He was a very wise scholar, and he was working as an advisor for Chandragupta Maurya. He was giving him guidance to how to fight the battles, how to run a kingdom. All these things Chanakya was guiding Chandragupta Maurya. In 298 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya, he gave up the throne and he became a Jain monk. Okay, he became a Jain monk and he gave up the throne to his son. His son Bindusara. Bindusara was the next ruler who came to throne of Maurya Empire. In 2098 BCE, Bindusara became the king of Mauryas. Now, Bindusara was also a very strong and powerful king. He further expanded his kingdom. His father had already conquered most of the parts of India. Bindusara also continued this thing, and he controlled more parts towards the south. The northern part was already there under their control, but south, some of the parts were still not under their control. So Bindusara extended further till Karnataka, the present Karnataka. Till there he brought his kingdom. Okay. Then in 273 BCE he died. After that, the next king who came into power or came to throne was Ashoka. Ashoka is a very famous king, you know about him, and is very famous, known as the Great Ashoka. The Great Ashoka is the title that is given to him. Ashoka was the first emperor, the first ruler to rule the entire India. That means when Ashoka came into power, or when he became the king, there was Kalinga, one part of India called Kalinga, which was not under their control, and few parts of South India were not under Maurya's control. Okay, rest the entire India was there under their control. So now Ashoka found that getting control over Kalinga was very important for many reasons, for trading and all. For there were many reasons for which this Kalinga was very important for them to control. Okay, but Kalinga was a very strong kingdom. It was not that easy to get hold over Kalinga. But Ashoka was a very brave and strong king. He took the step and he fought a battle to get control over Kalinga. This battle changed the life of Ashoka. It is said that by the historians that during this war there were thousands of men, women and children were killed. Even many animals were killed. Though Ashoka won this battle, he got control over Kalinga, the other parts of South India. In fact, now Ashoka was ruling over entire India. But still he was not that happy, he was not satisfied after the war of Kalinga. The disaster that he saw, the so many lives that were dead, the bloodshed on the battlefield changed his mind, changed his heart, and he decided to give up war. So the war of Kalinga changed the views of Ashoka and he became a Buddhist. He gave up wars, he followed the Buddhist teachings. Now according to Buddhist teaching, he started following ahimsa, peace, okay, tolerance, all these things he started practicing. These were the principles of Ashoka. He avoided any sort of killing, even hunting, all these were avoided by Ashoka. But he was a very, very powerful king. He controlled the entire India in a very nice way, and even he looked after his people also very nicely. After that, after Ashoka, there were many rulers who came, but nobody were as strong as Ashoka or the previous rulers or the previous emperors. So slowly the empire of Mauryas started declining, and in 185 BCE, Dhritarashtra was the last king of Mauryan Empire who was killed by Pushpamitra Sangha. So this after killing Dhritarashtra, the next dynasty, the Sangha dynasty, came into existence. But now let us look what all achievements these rulers Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara or Ashoka have done at that time, that has made this empire so famous or so important for the Indian history. Okay. Now Patliputra is a place which was a capital city of the Mauryan Empire. It is said that it is a very well planned city, and there were many ways in which they could control the entire India through this city. Okay. Now what are the sources that we know, from where we know about this Mauryas or the Mauryan Empire? Is the Indika is one of the source, all the literary sources these are. Then Arthashastra, this was written by Chanakya. Then Mudrarashtraka, this is a play. Edicts of Ashoka. What are edicts? We have already discussed in our previous lesson. These are the commands or the rules by the ruler which are inscripted on the walls or rocks or pillars. So Ashoka was the first king to communicate to the people, to tell people about his rules and regulations through edicts. He was the first Indian king to use edicts. Okay. So Ashoka's edicts we will find on stone pillars, rocks, boulders and on caves. Okay. So this is the great achievement of Ashoka. Now Ashoka, since he started following Buddhism, he sent his son to Sri Lanka and other neighboring countries to spread this religion. Though he was practicing Buddhism, he never forced his people to follow that religion. He had given liberty to his people to follow any religion they want, but he was in favor of peace and non-violence. Now next we look into the administration part of Mauryan Empire. See, Mauryans looked after their kingdom in a very organized way. You can compare their administration with present administration that we have in India. We have a main person who is looking after the country, right? The president, and we have prime minister, we have ministers. Same way, the Mauryan Empire also was a centralized administration. That means the entire empire was under the control of king. Okay, but he had many officers or ministers to support him. So that group of ministers were named as Mantrin Parishad. Okay, Mantrin Parishad. Now Mantri Parishad were the ministers who were working under the king. Now he had divided the work into different departments, and for every department there were officers. Now these officers were called Mahamantras. Okay, the officers looking after each department were called Mahamantras. This is how the rulings went on, or the administration part was going on. Not only this, the entire kingdom was divided into districts. In present day our country is divided into states, then further it is divided into districts, and further it is divided into taluks. Why do you think it is done like that? So that we can have a proper system, isn't it? The work can move systematically. So same way in Mauryan Empire also, they had divided the kingdom into districts. Now these districts were further divided into nagaras and gramas. So in this way you can compare how organized they were, right? Similar to how we are doing the present ruling or the present control of the administration. So they were very organized with their administration part also. Okay, and you will see that the administration rules and regulations that were followed by Mauryas were framed mostly by Chanakya. Okay, he was the person who guided how to go along with the administration part. So all the administration were guided by or were followed by the Chanakya. Okay, and all these rulings you will find in Arthashastra. Okay, most of the rulings or the rules were adapted from Arthashastra. Then next we will see into the art and architecture. Now Mauryans were very skilled in art and architecture also, especially the time of Ashoka. Ashoka had built many pillars, stupas and viharas. Okay, and most of them stupas and viharas were talking about the Buddhist, okay, Buddhist monuments, or you can see they are in a spherical, semi-spherical shape, okay, and they are mostly for the Buddhist monks and all. So stupas and viharas are mostly related with Buddhism. Now pillars, the famous pillar of Ashoka's time is Ashokan pillar at Sarnath. Now what is special about this pillar? Can anybody recall from what you know about the present Indian symbols, like we have emblem or we have flag? You must have heard, right? There is some connection with all these and Ashoka's pillar. Okay, Ashoka's pillar at Sarnath, this is the present emblem that you see, Indian emblem, where we have 4 lions sitting back to back, and then down we have a horse, an elephant, there is a chakra. So that is the actually it is derived or taken from Ashokan pillar at Sarnath. Okay, that is taken as the emblem of India. Okay, and the Ashoka chakra is also taken in our flag, Indian flag. In the center we have that chakra, right? That is also taken from Ashokan pillar. Okay, so Ashokan pillar at Sarnath has great influence in our present days also. Next important stupa that was built at the time of Ashoka is Sanchi stupa at Sarnath. Okay, this is for the Buddhist monks he had built. It is in a semi-spherical shape. Children, this is all about the Mauryan Empire. I have just explained you all very briefly about this empire. There are many things to know about this empire, and it's very detailed. You can study about this empire. Refer your books, you will get many information about this Mauryan empire. Please go through your books and find more examples and more details about this topic. Okay. Till then, stay at home and be safe. Inshallah, we will meet very soon. Jazakumullahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.